Become a member to help out the YouTube channel. Hello, I am D-Man, and today I'll be ranking all of the Shantae games from the original Shantae to Shantae Advance Risky Revolution. 6 games. They're all good, but which ones are better than the others? And which one is the weakest? Well, I guess you find out soon if you keep watching the video. Now, before I continue, I will say that I have played all the games once. I've just finished Seven Sirens. I played in chronological order. I did play the original first. Then I played Shantae Advance Risky Revolution, then Risky's Revenge, and then so on and so forth. And well, some game has to be last, and it's the original Shantae, but it makes sense why it's last. It's a Game Boy Color game. You can only do so much. And yeah, this game, I like it. It's fun. If this game wasn't good, I would not have played the rest. I'm being honest. But after playing all the other games, yeah, this one's not as good. The biggest thing I think with this game is that it is ambitious, but it is definitely limited by the hardware it was on, and you can tell. One thing right off the bat, you want to run in this game? Well, in order to do that, okay, you press the run button. Oh, you whip with your hair. Your attack and your run button are the same button, because the Game Boy only had 2 buttons. And not only is that button used for running and attacking, it's also used for using items and like switching the menu. That button has a lot of uses. And yeah, I'm honestly impressed that it does control quite well despite the limitations. But yeah, it is something to note. Now, when it comes to the actual gameplay, I quite like it. You start off with sort of like a tutorial level. It's a pretty hard tutorial level, but you know, you get a tutorial level, and then boom, you're placed in this overworld, and it's basically it's a Metroidvania, but instead of it's like a line. The whole overworld is just like a straight line, and it's kind of fun in a way, but you'll also have this problem where you're constantly going backwards and forwards, sort of through the same areas. They're fun areas, I'm not gonna lie. I like them, but it does get a bit repetitive, and I think playing this game the first time is not as good as I think if you played it again, it'd be fine. But this game has a couple of quirks. The biggest one I noticed was as you're going to the 4th labyrinth, you can talk to Mimic in Scuttletown, and he says, go west to get to where you need to go. He is a liar. You gotta go east, and oh man, that is cruel. Very cruel. Unintentionally cruel, I think, because the later games make fun of this. There's NPCs that go, man, imagine if you can't tell the difference between east and west, and it's like, haha, I get it. But that wasn't what got me. It was, after I beat the 3rd labyrinth, I just went, not east, sorry, I went west, saw the mountain, was like, cool, I don't think I can make it past this way, I guess I gotta go all the way to the other side of the map. That was correct. And what's funny is just before the 4th labyrinth, see, all the other labyrinths, there's normally a save guy. You can save your game, and if you're game over, you sort of respawn at the save guy. But with this 4th labyrinth, there's a guy at the bottom of the mountain. There's a save guy, but to get to it, you have to go down this like slide. And I didn't do this. but someone very easily could, right before they get in the fourth labyrinth, go down that slide, save the game, and then realize, oh shit, I can't get back up. And now you have to travel the entire overworld again. That is fucking cruel. That is so cruel. And I actually think the design of this game is quite good. The labyrinths are a lot of fun. Your character is a little too zoomed in, but I find for the most part, I didn't really like when I died in a pit. Normally it was me being reckless, you know. If you can't see the bottom of the screen, there's normally a path you can sort of walk down to get to the bottom of the screen safely without, you know, risking making a leap of faith. So I liked that. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, this is the first game, so the dances, that's fun. This game's dances take a second to figure out. It took me a second to figure out how the hell am I supposed to do this? But once I did it, it was fine. Definitely better than in the other games, just because you can transform so much quicker. But I felt like in this first game, it was fine for the most part. I think the dialogue, I think the characters and everything, they're all here. They're all great. The dialogue here is still very good. I think, obviously, the characters and the story and everything get better in later games, but again, this is the first one. It's more so just setting the groundwork, and so, like, it can't help but, like, not be quite as interesting in that regard. Now, is there any other things I want to talk about? Yes, the Naga Falls, I think it's called, where you have the nags that jump and shoot basically like a homing, like, sound wave. I've heard that area is, like, pretty infamous because it's pretty early on in the game and it's way harder than it should be, and I kind of agree, it is too difficult for that point of the game, but maybe I'm just an epic gamer, because I thought it was okay. But yeah, difficulty-wise, this is probably the hardest Shantae game. And yeah, it was hard. You die a lot. The pits, insta-death, spikes, insta-death. That's different in all the other games. You have a life system, and I have seen so many people be like, the life system sucks. I've even seen the designer of the game be like, the life system sucks, and I must be, like, crazy or something because I like the life system in this game. My issue is not the life system, my issue is just there's not enough save guides. They're very picky with where they are. The later games have them everywhere, but then the problem is you basically have one life, and if you game over, you lose all the progress back to the previous save guide. Whereas within this game, you lose a life, you go back to sort of the area, not to the last save guide. That only happens if you game over, and if you do game over, you don't actually lose, like, progress or anything. Like, if you've collected a key already and then you game over, you still have the key. It's not like that in any of the other games, and I find that kind of generous here. But I still kind of prefer how the save system works in the other games. Like, I'd rather there be 100 save guides than, like, 10. You know, that's sort of pretty big. But yeah, overall, this is a good game, but it is, you know, it is a bit dated, I guess is the best way, but the design is dated, and that's partly because it's on a fucking Game Boy. Like, like, it's a miracle the game is even as good as it is, in my opinion. And so, yeah, let's move on to 5th place. Next, in 5th place, we have Shantae Risky's Revenge. Now this game came out 8 years after the original, partly because the original kind of didn't sell very well. But this game is quite solid. It's a very solid game that feels like it's not finished, and that's unfortunate. The music is great here, just like the first game. The sprite animation, great, just like the first game. Just want to mention that real quick. But, and the gameplay is, obviously it's fairly similar. You got an overworld, you know, there are these sort of like doors you can jump into, and you sort of like jump into the background, and you can go in the foreground and stuff, and that's cool. Although I think it's underutilized. This happened, you do this in Scuttletown, and you do it in the forest area, and then never again. It doesn't appear anywhere else in the game. Why did they do that? It's not in any of the other areas. It's not in the desert area, it's not in the beach area or whatever. It's not in any of the labyrinths, the whole 2.5 labyrinths. I'm counting the battle tower as half a labyrinth. I like the battle tower. It's just basically just a gauntlet of enemies and a time limit, but that's not really what a labyrinth is, you know. It's not really puzzly or mazy or anything. It's a gauntlet. But despite this, there's a lot to like here. The dancers are back. There's not as many as in the first game, but they're still good. I just think this game is better just because it's just more fun. I don't know what to say. It's the labyrinths that are here, they're good. The overworld is mostly the big thing. The overworld here is a lot better. The story here is better. The story here honestly kind of ends on like it's like a bittersweet ending, and I kind of like that actually. And I guess more so, I really like how this game is almost like the prologue to the next game, Pirate's Curse, which I'll talk about later. You know, I really like how the story here kind of directly ties in with the next game, which these games tend to be a little loose in that regard normally. But yeah, all the characters here are good, and all the new characters are really good too. You got Squid Baron. That is a character that is, at this point, pretty damn iconic in the series. But you've also got stuff like the Ammo Baron. I actually really like the Ammo Baron. You get like Barracuda Joe, you get the Hypno Baron, and you get Nega Shantae. YouTube, I didn't say the word. Anyways, this game does a lot right. It's just more solid than the first game, and you even get a magic mode once you beat it. But there were just... the game didn't feel finished, as I said. This game has 2.5 labyrinths. The first game had 4. There is like the final level is like a weed shoot 'em up, and then there's just this one dark room, which is just it's so out of place. It's like, what is this doing here? The room is fine, but it's just like the only room in the game that looks like this, and it's like right before the final boss. It's just this random room. Okay. Like, it feels like they wanted to do more, and they just... I don't know what, like, happened. I don't know what happened. It feels like there's meant to be more, and I think that is true. I think this was meant to be like a chapter 1 or something, but, like, you know, it's a great game that's, like, it ends quicker than you like. And that's a shame, that's a shame. But, for what you get, it's still a good game overall. All the new characters are good. The new stuff this game does add, it has, I like the magic gem, actually makes it harder to buy the stuff. This game is missing the bathtub. Why? That is, I just remembered that this game has there's no bath to, like, restore your health and magic. Okay. The magic meter I like in this game more than the original and in Pirate's Curse, where you sort of buy the items and they're like a once-off use. I like the magic thing here a lot more. The magic meter. And yeah, the 2 labyrinths that are in this game are good. The overworld's better. This game is good, but too short for its own good. In 4th place, I have the technically the newest game, Shantae Advance Risky Revolution. Now, before I even talk about the game, obviously I want to quickly mention the backstory of this game. This game came out in 2025. They started working on this game in like 2003. Pretty much as soon as they made the first game, they're like, let's make the next one. But then the first game sold like crap, and so no one wanted to publish this game, and so they had to just be like, well, I guess we'll throw all that away. But, hold on, 20 years later, you know what? All that stuff we threw away, let's actually finish it, you know? We're halfway done already, let's go all the way. And this is what this game is. This is a Game Boy Advance game 20 years later, basically. With obviously some modern stuff sprinkled in there. Which, you know, it helps, I like the HD portraits in this game. But yeah, this game is it's just quite solid. This game goes for more of a chapter-based thing. You sort of have these 4 chapters, and each chapter is like you sort of fly to an area, and the area, sort of like in Risky's Revenge, there's a background and a foreground. I think overall it's better utilized here. Although I still like in Risky's Revenge how you can go in the background, and then go in the background more, and again, but not here. He doesn't do that. But I like this game. I do like that gimmick of you press the button, the world, sort of the layout changes. I don't love it, but I do like it. The story here is pretty good. I like the dialogue in this game a lot. The dialogue in all these games has a lot of, I would like, charming and humorous moments, but I think in this game I feel like it's particularly funny. I don't know if it's just me, I quite like it. Although, I also, gonna be honest, the fan service in this game, they dialed it up a little bit. Cause yeah, this game is something else sometimes. You know, you got like the Bug Keeney squad. Okay, sure. You know. But, I mean, that's sort of partly what Shantae is, and so it's not like unappreciated. I appreciate it, but it's just something to note. The gameplay here is very similar to Risky's Revenge, but the game just has a bit more going on for it, you know? You got 6 dances, as opposed to Risky's Revenge is 3. This game, technically, I think only has 3 labyrinths, but you sort of get, like... There's a lot more, like, exploring, like, these, like... I almost want to say, like, mini labyrinths, which sort of make up for it. Like, it doesn't feel... The game doesn't feel incomplete, basically. This game feels complete... Except for the final level. I don't know what happened there, but... This game feels complete. Which I know it might be like, wow, that shouldn't be that bare minimum, but for some reason these games have this issue of like, that was great. I wish that was a little bit longer, but I'd rather that than, wow, this game is dragging on. So it is what it is. Yeah, yeah, I like pretty much everything this game does. It's not as good as the games above it because, well, it was meant to be, you know, it was meant to come out like 20 years ago. So, it's still a little, it looks a bit more, you know, primitive, and the game sort of feels a bit more primitive as well. There's no map in this game, which I was fine with, but like, that can bother people. And it's just worth noting, I did just play with the base outfit. There are, like, deluxe outfits and whatnot, but I don't think that is a big enough change for me to want to replay the game. I mean, I don't even have the deluxe version, so... you know, what am I talking about? But yeah, Shantae Advance, Risky Revolution, just another solid game, but it just feels... It basically, if you want like a Shantae game, this is it. This is a Shantae game. It is good, the story's good, but it's sort of not doing anything spectacular. And I think the 3 games above this do things that they sort of push things a bit more. They're a bit more ambitious. Now, we move on to the top 3 of the Shantae game that's getting the bronze medal. Third place is Shantae Half Genie Hero. Now this is the first game to sort of ditch the pixel format, the sprites and that, and goes for more of this HD look, and I like the sprite look, but I think I prefer the look of this game and Seven Sirens, personally. Music, once again, is really good. This game definitely plays differently to all the other games. All the other games have labyrinths. These Zelda-like dungeons. This game does not have any labyrinths whatsoever. This game is more of a Mega Man style game. You don't pick the stages or anything, but it's sort of, you go through the stage, and then you'll go back later on to sort of explore more stuff throughout the stage. So it's kind of got that exploration still, but it's sort of, it's weird. You play the stage, you beat the boss, and then you'll go back maybe, once, twice. If it's Mermaid Falls, you're going back there a lot, but you'll go back to the stages you've beaten, and you can go and find new areas and sort of explore new stuff, basically, and that's cool. But and while all these games have backtracking and fetch quests to some extent, this game, I don't know, after a while the backtracking felt a little tedious to me. And maybe it didn't help because it was the first time playing the game, but it felt a little tedious in some ways. And it makes me wish the game had like 1 more stage or 2 more stages. And it's a shame. This game actually could have gotten 1 or 2 more stages. This game was a Kickstarter. I had a look at that at some point after I beat the game, and yeah, this game could have had like 8 stages as opposed to 6. And you might think, well, 6 seems like a decent amount, but the final stage is, you're not going back to that stage ever, and Hypno Baron's Castle, you go back there like once. Maybe twice, I don't remember. It's really those first 4 stages you're really going back to a lot, and if this game just had like, 2 more stages, it'd be so good. So good. It'd probably still be 3rd place, but it'd be, oh, so much closer. And just for the record, there is a Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition. The game would still be in 3rd place regardless, but, and I will say this, I have played, I do have the Ultimate Edition, and I have played the Pirates Queen Quest and Friends to the End, and I guess, in the middle of this ranking, I'll do a little mini ranking. I'm gonna rank those 3 real quick. I have not played the other DLC. I will say the base game I actually think is the weakest, because again, that backtracking gets a little tedious. Then I think Friends to the End is in 2nd place. It was good, you basically play the stages once, and that's it, You only go back if you want to try and get the Dream Squids. This one, Friends to the End, is actually kind of difficult. Probably, like, it definitely feels comparable to the first game's difficulty. Honestly, maybe even a little harder. And then I thought that Pirates Queen's Quest was the best one. It was just a nice, it was sort of, you play the stages once, you go back and you sort of revisit them like once or twice maybe, so it doesn't feel tedious or anything. And I mean, Risky Boots is pretty cool. And I just like I like the moveset that Risky Boots has. It's very similar to Pirate's Curse, and I like being able to upgrade. Oh, I can upgrade I can upgrade the gun, or I can upgrade my hat, or the cannon jump, or whatever, and I like that, or my health. I like that you get to, like, upgrade your stuff as you go along. Sort of like in Shantae, where, you get the new dances, you basically upgrade. And I will say with the base game of Shantae Half Genie Hero, oh yes, there are so many transformations. It must be like 20 or at least. Like there's so many like different creatures you can transform into. Admittedly, some of them are not as useful as others. Some of them are. There's one that's intentionally like useless, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's sort of worth knowing. There's a lot of different transformations. These levels are really, really good, even if you do play them a lot. So yeah, you better like those levels. And yeah, the story here actually I will criticize a little bit. The story here in every other game, it's sort of one overarching story for that game, right? And then the next game is a different overarching story. Whereas in this game, it's almost like segmented, kind of. It's like the first stage you beat Risky Boots, okay, and then there's a new problem. It's Techno Baron with the mermaids and that, and it's okay, we deal with that problem, and then we have the next problem. Oh, everyone's lost their memory. It's that character that I forgot about. That's a joke, by the way. I do remember their name, but don't say it. And it's sort of like this like problem of the week thing, and then right at the end of the game, it's Risky Boots is back, and it's like, okay, this could have been a more interesting story, especially after Pirate's Curse, which, in my opinion, I think had the best story. But again, we'll get to Pirate's Curse later. But overall, I think this game, despite the different format, I still think works very well. It's a very solid game that tried to do something different, and I think for the most part succeeds. I do like the more arcade style playthrough, and this game having DLC, I'm glad it's this game, because I've still got all those costumes to play as ninja, officer. I heard some horror stories about the beach mode, but you know what? Fuck it. How bad can it be? How bad can it be? Oh, so naive I am. But yes, I do like this game a lot, even though I've complained about this game probably more than some of the others lower on the list, but, this game just does a lot right, I think, and despite those little flaws here and there, I like it. What else can I say? Okay, here it is, the top two. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Shantae and the Seven Sirens. Which one gets the gold and which one gets the silver? Well, I'm gonna be honest. It was really hard, actually. These two games are very similar in quality to me. They're both really fucking good. But it was like, oh, this game has better music. It's like it come down to that sort of level. Like these two games are very close in quality to me, but I have to pick one over the other, and I think for me, the game that gets second place is Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Now, this game, I sort of knew going in after playing Risky's Revenge, this was like the fan favorite, and I can see why. This is definitely the game with the best story, the game with probably top two in music. I don't know if it's better than Half Genie Hero. It's certainly like the music's definitely very solid here. The story here is actually really interesting. You actually get to learn more about the character. You learn more about Shantae herself and her family. You learn a lot about Risky Boots, since Risky Boots is not the villain this game. You learn about the Pirate Master. You learn about Roddy Tops' backstory and sort of why, not her backstory, but sort of why she acts the way she does. You see her human form. You learn more about Sky's family, you see her parents and that, and even though it's kind of silly, it's still something, we know more about these characters. And, it really, and because this game comes after Risky's Revenge, where, spoiler alert, you lose your magical genie powers, in this game, it's sort of this, like, underdog story. You're coming back, the beginning of the game, you're sort of as low as you can go, and by the end, you got your powers back and you're kicking ass. And that's really good. That arc is nice. Now, of course, because you don't have your dances, you don't, there's no animal transformations. So instead, you get Risky Boots' arsenal. You get a hat, you get a gun, you get a scimitar, you get the cannon jump, you get the dash. And once you got the whole moveset, man, this is a fun moveset, I'll tell you that right now. Probably the most fun moveset once you get it all. It is not OP, but you could do some really cool stuff with it. And I will say that, yeah, like, I like how, like, it's just instantaneous, The dances in all the games before this, they take a second to do. The first game, it's like, oh, it takes forever, but here it's, like, instant, and that's kind of nice. And, yeah, this game, it just does a lot right. It is worth mentioning, this game is, like, this game is something else when it comes to certain moments. I will just say the Tan Line Temple as the main one, but there's a lot of other moments as well where it's like, okay, you're not being slick here at all. This is quite fan servicey. More so than I think the other games. Probably the most fan servicey alongside Risky Revolution. But it's, again, not a bad thing. It's a thing. It might be good to you, it might be bad. But, yeah. Why is this game not better than Seven Sirens then? I mean, I've told so much praise for it, so what makes this weaker than Seven Sirens? And I think, to me, the thing that makes this game just that not as strong is the gameplay. When it's good in this game, I think it's the best in the series. But there's just a few too many moments in the game where it just doesn't, it's either a little annoying or a little frustrating, and those little moments sort of stack up, and maybe when you play the game a second time it's a bit better, but again, the Roddy Tops, Run Roddy Tops, that's a fine section to have, but it's a little frustrating, it goes on a little too long. It kind of feels like a filler, it's like a filler part of the game, like, this is alright, but I want to get to the good stuff now, and as funny as the Tan Line Temple is, that's sort of the same thing. It's like a filler, and there's just a few frustrating moments as well. Maybe I'm just dumb, but I did the Dagron boss. Wasn't not having a great time with that boss, admittedly. And yeah, there's just some quirks. This game also, I don't think is as replayable as some of the other games. Half Genie Hero has all the DLC. Seven Science has a bunch of extra modes. This one sort of, you beat the game, you get the pirate mode, you can 100% it, you can speed run it. But all the games basically have you can have like a speed run thing. This game's not special in that regard, and yeah, and I guess there's just a few moments like some of the cacklebats. There was one I had to look up, and it was surprisingly not the one in the sewers. I found that one, like, when I found that one, I was like, how the fuck is anyone meant to find that? I feel like I got lucky finding that one, but there was one I couldn't find. I probably could have found it eventually if I really spent my time, but there's the one in the quicksand. I can see, like, I see it now, but, it happens. And yeah, those moments just add up. But when this game is good, it's really good. Um, and I guess the only other thing as well is because yeah, you don't have the dances, you don't have the magic meter, so it's sort of like the first game where the items are a one use. As I said in when I was talking about Risky's Revenge, I don't like it as much as the magic meter, so that's like a slight negative. Not a negative, but like I guess a nitpick more really. But and this game is probably the labyrinths are really good. Um, the labyrinths are really good. The final level is I quite like it. You know, I do like the ramp in difficulty because it's the final level. Um, but yeah, this game is a little bit more linear than like some of the games because it's sort of like Shantae Advance where you get like you go to different islands in this one and you sort of explore that island. Whereas something like the first game, it's this whole overworld basically, and I personally prefer that style to the style in Pirate's Curse. But yeah, when this game is good, it's the best in the series. But there's just, for me personally, just a few too many things just sort of knocking it down a little bit, and my mind might change later on. Geez, that's a bit of a tongue twister there. So yeah, that's second place. I guess we should talk about first place now, eh? Alright, here it is. The gold medal. First place, Shantae and the Seven Sirens. Uh, this game, the gameplay is just super, super solid. That's what makes this game first. Um, the difficulty curve in this game feels really nice. And I'm mentioning the difficulty curve right now because this game got an update at some point, and, well, I played the game recently, so I played the updated version, but the original version was apparently way too easy, and just kind of looking at it a bit, it, yeah, if I was playing the original version of this game, it would not be as good as Pirate's Curse. But the update that fixes the difficulty makes it a bit harder, but still not, crazy hard or anything. The difficulty is now nice. It's sort of about as hard as the other games are. And there's all these extra modes too, which I'll probably try the Rule Breaker mode at some point. I like the idea of having 50 of the monster cards. And speaking of the monster cards, I really, really like that as a concept. You kill a monster, you get a power-up. And you can like switch them out. And that is such a cool idea that I really like how it's executed for the most part too. My only problem with it is like there were times where it's like, okay, I need to use this power. Go to the menu, switch. Okay, I healed with the revive dance. Switch the cards back, and it's like that's. I think I would have preferred it as. Geez, I can't talk. I would have preferred it where as the game went on, you unlocked more slots. So maybe you start with 3 slots, but maybe by the end of the game you have like 6 slots. And that would have been cool because that would have been another collectible other than fucking chicken nuggets, right? Not chicken nuggets, they're made of gold, but still, that would have been cool. But yeah, this game is just so solid. I like the whole game is essentially like one giant labyrinth with a bunch of mini labyrinths in it. But those mini labyrinths being full labyrinths, the whole game's a labyrinth kind of, and it's the only game that's like, yeah, this is like 100% like a Metroidvania style. Still not like crazy or anything, but that's I don't want the game to be too confusing at the end of the day, and I didn't think this game was that confusing. I actually turned off the hints and I don't know, I went through the game pretty much fine except for like one moment. The labyrinths here are solid, not as good as Pirate's Curse's labyrinth. I will say, I think I did like the Squid Pit a lot. It's another gauntlet style, half a labyrinth. I really like that again. But the fourth labyrinth, I forgot what it's called, that one in this game felt a little like a bit crap. Like, it wasn't a bad labyrinth, but it was just like, this is kind of linear for a labyrinth. It was like, you basically just went in a circle, and that was it. I was like, oh, cool. But I do really like the overall in this game. The story here, I think, is quite solid. It does partly feel like this is the start of something bigger, and I will say that this game gives me a lot of hope for the next game that's going to come out, because I feel it's going to take what this game did and just make it better. And, well, better than this means it's better than the rest, so my expectations are actually quite high. But anyways, yeah, the story here is very solid. It's a bit more of a mystery this time. You know, you're not really sure what's going on. I like that. There is a slight downside where when you finally get to see the villain of this game, the main villain, it's a little, you know, I wish I knew this person a bit more. But the story overall it's very solid. I think it's the second best story. Um, the soundtrack is good, but I gotta be honest, I think this game has the weakest music. It's not bad, it's still good, but it just doesn't hit as hard. I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't hit as hard. The new characters here, you get all the new half genies. Yes, I really like that. I like seeing the armor baron as well. I like seeing the side. It's all, you know, this adds more to the world, and that was something that like Half Genie Hero was missing. You know, that like, wow, this is something new in this game, and this really does it. Um, this game is just, yeah, this game never gets bad for me, really. At worst, there was the one labyrinth where I was like, this isn't as good. But the whole game from beginning to end just felt so solid. Not perfect, but just really, really good. With no bad moments, you know, and of course the dialogue is still really good and everything. I like there's a bath joke in here. There's like a bath water joke. It's like, hey, you know, people, yeah, they buy bath water. That's a sad reality that we live in. But I'm also not terribly surprised. But enough about the real world. Let's talk about this, you know, fantasy world. That's the whole point of these games, anyways, right? You know, let's have some fun. And this game does that the best. This game I have the most fun with. I have high expectations for the next game, which is coming out. I did a video giving my thoughts on that. And yeah, that is my ranking for all of the Shantae games. Will they do this again once the new game comes out? Probably. But, I don't know when the new game's coming out. It might be a while still. But, yeah. Let me know if you agreed. Let me know if you disagreed in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.